Hello everyone. Today we are going to have a special episode. You are going to see my calculation training with Max, who is 1800 Elo rated player. And we are going to use methods that are described in the video that is one of from the series Stop Making Blunders. And you can just see video on the screen. I also would like to remind you that you can visit the website stopmakingblunders.matbobula.com and you can get a free workbook with a lot of exercises that will help you to blunder less. Let's start. You can see this is the game between Steinitz and Curt von Bardeleben. I do not know the opponent that was playing black. You know Steinitz or?
Yes.
Yeah. First official world champion. And you see, we are going to go through this game. Of course, I want you to guess some moves. We will go briefly through the opening, and later I really want you to focus on the calculation here because plan will be pretty obvious what is the correct plan. So I want you to calculate. So let me just remind you that when you calculate, I mean, of course, you have to pay attention to that what your opponent is doing. Yes, this is very important. You also have to remember about picking candidate moves, calculating them at least 1.5 move, and later have to evaluate the position in the end. And when you make the decision, you have to pick the move with the best final evaluation. This is pretty obvious. So let me briefly go through the opening because opening is not the most important thing. So yeah, okay. So let's see e4, e5. Okay, here knight c6. Bishop goes to c4, so we have got, what is it called? Italian, yes. Italian, especially black plays bishop c5, white plays c3. There are some different variations of the Italian with d3 or with b4, Evans Gambit, but this is c3. Okay, and now white plays d4. Pawn takes, and now bishop goes to b4. And now one question, do you know what is the most popular move in this position? You may not know it, but you see, just maybe asking. Have you ever seen that position or?
I'm sure I've seen it before. I don't know the most popular move. I would guess that it would be like bishop d2.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, you're right. The most popular move is bishop d2, but I have got one question. Okay, Steinitz played something else, but I have got one question. What would you do after knight takes e4? It's a pretty popular, trap or idea here.
I would think it would be something with bishop takes f7.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah, like bishop
right
takes f7, king f7, bishop takes, knight takes, queen check. Mm-hmm. Looks strong.
Mm-hmm. And you can take material back, and you can see that king is quite exposed. Yes. As you can see, just one thing, I think it's slightly more accurate to start with bishop takes b4. Moves order, I think, also can be important, because after, if you start, I think, with bishop f7, king takes f7, bishop takes b4, black is not forced to take that piece back, I think. So I think it's a good idea to start with the bishop takes here, knight takes there. Now bishop takes f7, king takes f7, queen b3, and I think d5. And from what I remember, before you capture at the b4, a good idea is to give that check. That check is quite annoying because king has to go into like a bad position. King has to go back or something. Black, so you see, let's say king goes there and you can just take it back. The difference is that in between move, the difference is that after this move, black can develop the rook and black can make artificial castling. This is the difference. So that in between move can be quite can improve white's position. But okay, so I hope it's quite clear. But Steinitz played a move that, nowadays you can still meet that variation, but it's not super popular. It's knight c3. It happens, right? That there is such a variation, but this is the older line. Okay, black decided to play d5 at this position. The most popular move is knight takes e4, and black is taking that pawn. But okay, black played d5, white captures at the d5, knight captures, white castles. Of course, it's very important to follow principles. Bishop goes to e6, bishop goes to g5, bishop e7.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
So I guess like in this position, one before, I see two attackers.
Okay. Okay. So the question is, can black capture at the c3? Yes. Okay. You see, in case knight takes c3, of course, pawn has to take it back.
But then you have the same trick.
You have got even better.
You have even better.
You have got even better trick. Similar, but there is a better version of it. Because of course, bishop takes f7, king takes f7, queen b3, and you take material back. It's equal on the material. That is true, but you can play it in a better version.
Okay, I guess I'm looking at like takes knight here, and then if the king goes into the dark squares, maybe you have like another move. No.
I mean, you are trying to use the idea with in-between move, right? After bishop
a7.
Actually, there is a better version. You're right about bishop a3 idea, but a good idea is to start with queen b3. So you can see that you are forking here. Yes, and in case bishop captures at a1, of course you just take it. King has to go probably to the dark square. And now you go there, and you can see that the game is over.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, at this position, the game is over. White has got a very strong attack. This is also the reason why black wanted to develop pieces. This is why bishop goes to e6.
That makes sense.
Okay, bishop goes to g5, bishop goes to e7. Okay, and now one, let's say, pretty weird thing, because you can see that white has got an isolated pawn. Do you remember any principles? How should you play when you have got an isolated pawn?
Yeah, you can either use the outpost from the pawn to create activity and have an attack, or you can try to push the pawn.
Okay. Yes. You can pushing the pawn is one common idea. Second is using outpost, but in general, try to use your especially minor pieces to create some kind of attack. And this is also the reason why you should avoid exchanges of minor pieces when you have got an isolated pawn, unless there is something else. And this is the case because Steinitz was a very he was like the first player who thought more about positional play. Right, and then he created his famous fundamentals and so on, strategical ideas, and he still decided to exchange minor pieces at the moment, but there is something more, and you see. So let me just show you exchanges. Exchange, captures here, and this is, let's say, the starting position, right? Because it was the opening basically. This is, let's say, the starting position that I want you to turn the calculation mode on. But I have got one question. How do you think what's gonna be the plan for white? In what area white is going to attack, or king side, queen side, center?
Oh yes. Well, yeah. White has one semi-open file and one open file. So I would imagine the plans are around the center.
100% agree. Yes. So you see, I told you before the game that plan will be pretty obvious because open files are in the middle. Yes. Also, you have got isolated pawn, right? That remember about principles that you mentioned before. And yes. So now here is my question: if the plan is attacking the center, please give me some let's do the calculation. Please give me some candidate moves and yeah, you see, let's do this way. That tell me your thinking, your candidate moves, your calculation, so on, and I will wait until once you play the move, I will see that this is your final decision, and I will comment it. Okay.
Okay. So let's start with like weaknesses of the black, if that's all right. So yeah, one thing that like first came to mind is the c7 pawn. If I can eliminate the c7 pawn, then this becomes a pass pawn, which is good in the endgame. On my side, I guess one thing that's a little annoying is the a2 pawn. I would love to put my rook on the c file, but the a2 pawn would hang. Also want to note that the king is a little exposed. There is queen a4 check, and also potentially this knight can be pinned with rook e1. So those are the first things that.
So those are like a 3 candidate moves, right? Or if I understand correctly, rook c1, rook e1, queen a4.
Yeah, and like let's say like a3.
A3, okay. Okay, so now please calculate them and yeah, what do you like the most?
Okay, let's start with rook e1. Rook e1 is a little bit nice because black can't castle, right? So like rook e1 castles, you win a knight, obviously. So let's say what would black want to do in this position?
Probably black will try to fix somehow that problem.
Yeah. So if rook e1, maybe black sidesteps king f8, or maybe something nice would be f7. There's no bishops, so maybe like king f7 ideas
castle.
to bring the rook. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the possible solution, right?
Yeah. Something also I like about that move is that it limits the knight's mobility a little bit.
That is true. Okay, so rook e1 f6.
Yep, rook e1 f6. Then let's say queen a4 in order to protect the pawn. King f7. So rook e1 f6, queen a4, king f7. Then I would want to do rook c1 next to just activate all my pieces. And then I'm threatening taking this pawn now.
And what is your opinion about this the final position after those 3 moves?
I think it's really good. I think white has activated all their pieces. We have some threats on the board, and yeah, black might be in trouble there.
Okay, so your opinion, white rook e1 gives white the advantage. Yes. Okay. What about other candidates?
Okay, so if we go, yeah, rook c1 is also a little interesting, I would say. So like for example, rook c1, queen takes a2, rook takes a7, then let's see, the knight is hanging, or not hanging, but it's there's some pressure. Can black afford to take the pawn? Like rook c1 here looks quite dangerous, but okay, maybe you could just move the knight, like knight d5, but then I guess you can either check or take this b7 pawn, which looks pretty good. Okay, so like rook c1, maybe black doesn't take the pawn. I don't know. Maybe that's a little risky for black because you have some development problems.
So what else black can do?
Oh, maybe like knight c6, defending the pawn, removing the idea of the pin, attacking the d4 pawn.
So what would be your answer to rook c1, knight c6?
Yeah, rook e1 check, king f8. You could also alternatively in that position, instead of rook e1, you could go like rook c2, knight c6, queen a4, putting some pressure. And then you also defend the pawn. In that position, I can black get out of it with just like b5 because the queen protects b5. But then black has some problems after like the queen comes back to c2. So I don't think the b5 works. So yeah, maybe there's some problems here even with this.
Okay, so what is the conclusion? That variation, is it better than rook e1, worse, or? You like it more or less?
Yeah, no, it's hard to say. It's like I feel like it's almost like a risk question. Like because like rook c1, queen takes a2. You're risking
I'm pretty sure black will not do that, right? Because rook on the
yeah.
7th rank is extremely dangerous, right?
So oh, okay. So there's also rook c1, c6 as well, just being like really solid. Yeah, I think for that reason, I like rook e1 better because of like you can just go c6 and be solid, and there's I just like the idea of not letting black castle right away.
Okay.
So I think like this rook e1 would be more precise. Now the last idea was the queen a4. Queen a4, maybe you have c6, then rook e1. Then what does black do? You could double up or bring this rook in to put pressure here, maybe. You could unpin.
So what is your opinion on that variation?
I think I don't like it as much as I like rook e1 right away because it feels like black gets some more activity than rook e1. So yeah, I think that of those candidate moves, I like rook e1 the best.
Okay, so is rook e1 your decision?
Yes.
Okay, so if this is the decision, okay, I will just tell you that this is the move that Steinitz played. Very good. But let me comment a couple of things, okay, about those moves. First of all, you need to know that you don't have to always calculate that deeply, because when you calculate 3-4 moves ahead, it's like the quality of such a calculation, like for every player, is not is far from being fantastic, I would say. Right, a lot of weird things can happen, right? If you're calculating then deeply, usually it's like 2 or 3 moves is absolutely enough, right? This is first thing. Second thing, you need to know that good that you are trying to find the best moves for the opponent, because when you are calculating rook c1, if you are calculating this move, position looks fantastic for white. After knight takes c6 also looks really nice, but there is c6. And now, of course, rook c1 is a pretty logical idea because, rook goes into the open file. But after c6, actually, it's not so easy to find a follow-up for this. Queen a4, I see the check, but it's not really attacking in the center. and the plan was attacking in the center, right? By the way, the same reason why, for example, a3, in my opinion, it's not a good candidate move, because the plan was to attack in the center. Yes, so this is the reason why I have to say that those two moves are the most logical, I would say. And you see, don't forget that usually it's a good idea to pick 2 or 3 moves, right? If you it doesn't make that much sense to pick 5 or 6 moves. I know you didn't, right? But I'm just reminding that. And also one thing more, when you're evaluating final position, a good idea is use that evaluation from the, let's say, chess annotations, right? Because you said here that you like position after rook e1. You also think white is better after rook c1. After queen a4, okay, it's maybe not that, not there is no clear advantage, right? Or something like this. It's better to say, for example, that after rook e1, your evaluation is that, for example, white has got big advantage. After rook c1, white has got small advantage. Yes, I'm talking about the final position, right? In the that you analyze. After this position is equal. So if you are using such a chess annotations, it's much easier to make the final decision, because if you have got 2 moves that you like, you have to decide, right? It's a good idea to you see my point here. Yes, it's a good idea to use that signs from the annotation. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
One thing that I've been trying to do more lately is visualize and like compare the 2 final positions. So like compare activity of both sides, ideas.
No, that's good, but you see, it's like because in the end you have to make the final decision, right? So this is the and if you are, you see, you analyze rook e1, and when you analyze later rook c1, you may not remember 100% clearly the position after rook e1. This is the reason. But you can remember that you calculated in position, you had got a big advantage after rook e1. Yes, that's, and because of course it's great if you remember perfectly both positions, but it's easier if you remember final evaluations of it. Okay, but rook e1 is the move that happened, and you will not be surprised, but black played f6. So black is trying to use your idea. Yes, so of course it's controlling here and here, and probably the idea is to go somehow here and artificial castling. So now you should, again, your plan remains the same. You're attacking in the center, but you should again mention some candidate moves. I will just tell you one thing, that you already have got, I think, one candidate move because you calculated that, right? So okay. So now again, I listen, and then later I'll comment.
Okay. I mean, if I see my opponent make this move, I know like the idea is clear. We want to put the king on f7 and connect the rooks. So just like one note that I want to make is there's this tactical motif. I could force a queen trade. Not saying that it's a good move. I'm just noting it. Then there's also we had this check before, but we also now have, or I guess we all had it before. No, we did not have it before. Yeah, so we could take rook takes e7 is a possible candidate move. I don't think it's good off the bat, but something worth calculating for sure.
Agree. Checks, captures, and threats. Those are usually good moves when you're attacking.
So then, of course, we have attacking in the center. We have the rook c1 idea. We can just go straight away for attacking the knight with queen d2 to just double up here. What else?
I think it's a good idea because when you play the game, you also have got limited time. Yes? So it's a good idea. Just if there is a reason why such a move came into your mind. So pick those 2 or 3 moves and go with them. You can always later add another candidate move if you have got the idea.
Okay, so I'm going to eliminate queen a4. I think we determined it was bad before. I'm going to just stick with queen d2, rook takes e7, and rook c1 as my candidate moves. So let's start with the fun one. Rook takes knight on e7. So rook takes knight on e7, king takes. Then what do we have? We have a check. We have queen e2 check, queen e1 check. Let's see. Probably queen e2 makes more sense because we can bring the other rook in if we want. So queen e2. Then the king can come up, but we'll ignore that. The king can go to these 4 squares here. Then just one note that I guess the queen can block as well. The queen can block. And let's say the rook comes behind and then black gets a trade of pieces, then we're just down in an exchange and that doesn't look good. So I'm going to just eliminate this move because of this potential exchange and our attack kind of dies. So
of course, if you sacrifice material and later it's not a good idea to exchange pieces, right? Because you should try to keep positions on the you should try to keep pieces on the board. But so what evaluation would you put here if you want to use chess annotations?
I would say that white is losing.
Agree.
White is losing after rook takes f7
Agree.
or e7. Okay, so then the next logical move I think is queen e2. It puts a lot of it's a very forcing move. It puts a lot of pressure. I think maybe black only has 2 moves here, not to lose material. So queen d6, queen d7. So let's look at those. So queen e2, queen d6. How can we add more pressure?
Do you remember what are the 3 most important principles that you should think of when you're attacking?
I guess adding activity.
Yeah, bringing more pieces into the action. This is 1. Okay, what else? 2 more.
Creating multiple weaknesses.
Okay, I would say that when you're attacking, create more threats, right? Because I like that about creating threats and try to make position more open. Because if you have got if you are attacking, you want to make position more open. If you are defending, you wanna close it. So how can you you think about those principles, and how can you implement those principles into one of those principles into position after queen e2 and queen d6?
Okay, so yeah, okay, so we have queen e2, queen d6, or d7. I don't know which one is better, but one of those 2 moves. Then probably you'd want to bring in the rook into this file.
What is your opinion here?
I think it's good for white. I think white has an advantage, has an attack. I would say it's good for white.
Okay, and I think okay.
Yep, and then so that was one of the moves, and then rook c1 I think was the last candidate move. So here I think maybe we also have c6. Was that the last candidate move? I forget.
It was queen e2, it was rook takes e7, and I think you mentioned rook c1.
Okay, yeah. So I think rook c1 is still bad because of c6. So we'll get rid of that move as well. So yeah, I think in this position I will go queen e2, it looks strong, still continue the attack.
Okay, second move and second good move, right? You are bringing more pressure. Black decided to play queen d7. You're right about it, right? Because black has to protect it. I think that after queen d6, which is a little bit similar move, but there are also some possibilities of queen b5 or things like that. So probably it's safer for black to go queen d7, so there are no other attacks like this. Yes, so this move. Okay, and let me just comment it. That was like a much better. Yes, like the comparing to the to the first calculation. I like every move that you considered. Especially I like. I mean, of course, it didn't appear to be a good move. Rook takes e7, but it's a good idea to consider such a move, right? Because sometimes you might be surprised that it works, for example. But of course, it was, yeah. So what are you going to do right now? Queen d7. I know you calculated. I think you calculated rook c1, so you can take it as a first candidate move. But try to add some other candidate moves. And what ideas have you got?
Okay, so yeah, like we have two pieces that are very well positioned, the queen and the rook. I would say this rook and this knight, they can be improved, but this rook is the worst placed piece. So this would be my first set of candidate moves, to move it like c1 or d1, and then maybe later I make this knight better if we potentially. So this is really, because I don't see any way to add more attackers to this right away. Maybe something like this, but I wonder even if black can stop it with the move like g6.
Or just king f7, and you cannot go now to the f5 square.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Okay. So I think making this rook better is the way to go. Now the question is c1 or d1. I wonder if d5 is even like you can push d5. Neither piece can take, and it stops c6. So maybe it's more accurate here to play d5 than it is to rush with rook c1, because in like all the other positions we looked at, after I played rook c1, c6 was quite annoying. Kind of just stopped the power of the rook. So I'm thinking that d5 might be good, because the knight can't take, the queen can't take.
I mean, also, you mentioned earlier that when you have got an isolated pawn, one of the ideas is to push it forward. So if there is such a principle, d5 is definitely the move that is worth to consider. Okay, so you have got 3 candidate moves. Okay, so you have to, calculate move by a move and pick move that you like the most.
Yep. So I'm going to eliminate rook c1, because I think it's more accurate to play d5 first. Like rook c1, c6, and then let's say I go d5 in this position, cd5. Okay, so maybe I get this open file, and then it also, like if it's a pawn sacrifice, then that opens up knight d4. And then this e6 square becomes super weak. Okay, so maybe there's some ideas.
What is your opinion about this position?
I think white is winning in that position.
Yeah, white is winning. That would it be that final evaluation here, right? White's winning after. No, just asking. Just want to make that clear, right? So.
Yeah, I think that there's some ideas. I need to calculate it one more time though. So like rook c1, c6, d5. Black doesn't have to take as well. I think I just assumed that black would take. Let's see if black doesn't take. What else? Rook c8. So rook c1, c6, d5, rook c8. Then what? You can go knight d4 here. I have to calculate a little deeper to see if it's makes sense.
Of course, you can do that, but remember what did I tell you, that if you're calculating too deep, the quality is not fantastic. But okay, but you see, it's an important decision if you want to sacrifice some material. So
yeah. Okay, so then d5 right away discourages c6, I think. So like d5, c6, then we can take and we created another weakness, and then now the rook can come to the d file, and that's stronger. So I like this. It discourages this move. Black might also try to solve their problems by going queen f7, king f7 now. Oh, but then in that position, we have queen e6, forcing the queen trade, but we get a very powerful pawn.
Okay, and how do you evaluate this position? Is it like, white is slightly better, much better, white's winning? How do you think?
I think that it's not as good as keeping the rook on. I think it's not as easy.
Okay, so okay, I understand that you have got the advantage, but advantage is not as big as after rook ac1. Yes.
Yeah. I feel that way because I guess like we solve the problem for black. Where okay, maybe the rooks can come in, and then like even if we do get this trade, I feel like it's with the less material, it's difficult to more difficult to put on the pressure. And maybe this pawn becomes an overextended pawn and is more of a weakness. So yeah, I would say rook c1 is more accurate than d5. Or
rook c1, you mean decision, yes, or
yes.
Okay, but what about, I think, if I'm not wrong, you mentioned rook ad1 as well as a candidate move.
Okay, let's consider this one too. So
yeah, because if you mentioned that, it's a good idea at least to check it, right? Does it make sense?
Then so yeah, rook d1, king f7, d5. Okay, then rook h e8 to protect the knight. Then maybe in this position, queen c4 is kind of strong.
Okay, so you want to make an x-ray.
Yeah, make an x-ray. Okay, let's stop there though. So it seems like we have an attack, but it also seems like black is like more active than like the rook c1 position.
Okay. So final decision
is probably rook c1.
Rook c1. Have you ever seen that game before?
No, I haven't.
I'm pretty sure I didn't show it to you because this is the move that Steinitz played. Yes, it was rook c1. Yeah, no, very good, right? You see, let me comment a couple things. Okay, good that you are using those no chess annotations when you're evaluating the position. This is good. Rook c1. I also another thing that I really like is that you are trying to change principles that you know into moves. Like you isolated pawn, you consider pushing it forward. You want to bring more pieces into the action, and this is something very good. But if there is a next thing that I would recommend you to change, because we are making this as a training just for the so you can calculate better in your games, right? And in games, when you of course this is the training, right? So yeah, but when you play games, you have to be a little bit more, like disciplined, right? You really have to, you have to mention, couple moves, like quickly pick some candidate moves, analyze move immediately you should decide the what do you think about the final evaluation, and you have to do that. I'm not saying that you have to be like a computer, but you have to do it slightly faster in your game, because usually even in 90 minutes games, in the classical games, the time is a limit also, right? So this is one thing you have to pay more attention to this, and there is one thing more I wanted to tell you. Okay, one second. What was that? Okay, I just forgot. But this is the most important thing, right? That you have to consider. And don't forget that I know. And don't forget that if you're calculating, opponent plays the move that you expected, you already have got one candidate move that you calculated. Yes, that's the thing. Okay, so now, black decided to play c6. So now you have got one candidate move. If you remember, what was that? Remember, what did you calculate?
It was d5.
You calculated d5, yes. And okay, so this is one candidate move. Try to find at least one more, and calculate them and make the decision. Is there any other move?
Yeah, okay, this is a really stupid move, but I know like
there are no stupid candidates.
yeah, was knight e5 was had some it was a little interesting to me.
No, of course, right? One word, okay,
yes.
one word. You see, if your move follows the plan, which is still attacking in the middle, you see, it's like there is a reason why that move came into your mind. If you tell me a3, I will tell you, okay, it's maybe not. This is not something you should look for, right? Or h3, because this is not attack in the middle. But knight e5 is definitely something you can check. It creates a threat, and it's in the middle. Okay, so d5, knight e5. Anything else, or those two?
Let me look for a second.
Remember that you can add also, the idea later after calculation. You calculate those two moves, and you have got, okay, I just want to check another move. You can add it also.
Okay, yeah. So I guess the other most obvious idea would be to create Alekhine's gun. So yeah, those would be the ideas. Let's, if it's okay, we can calculate the ridiculous idea first.
Sure.
So the reason that I thought it was interesting is, okay, so knight e5, it attacks the queen, but also we have this idea, like this kind of pattern also comes with the check. And then after here, we get the check. And then potentially we can double up rooks like this. Yeah, I know g6 is in there, but that's why I thought the idea was interesting. So just quickly, I'll try to calculate the critical line. So like knight e5, f takes e5, queen h5, then g6. Then probably queen g5 to keep the pressure. Okay, but
what do you think?
Yeah, but then, okay, maybe it's not so clear. We sacrifice the knight, the pawn is hanging, and I think black can get out of it. I don't think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's too easy for black to
So
get
what,
out
black
of.
has a big advantage, black is winning, or
Yeah, I think black is winning.
okay. So you have got
Um,
good that you have got 2 other moves that you want.
yes. The other idea is rook c3. So rook c3, king f7, rook e3, rook h e8. Okay, then black has. It seems like black has solved their problems in this. Let's
So
see, takes. Yeah, you lose. So yeah, black has solved their problems. This seems a little too slow.
okay, but what is like position? Is it still white slightly better, or is it equal, or
White is slightly better. White is slightly better. Okay, then what was the other
I
move?
think the move that you mentioned as the first one.
Yeah, d5. Okay, so d5. Okay, so d5, c d5, knight d4. This is the idea. To go knight f5 maybe, or knight e6, and attack, bring the rook in like this on the 7th. So here taking maybe is very dangerous for black. So here maybe black doesn't take and we'll bring the rook in. Then knight d4. Knight d4. Okay, black can't add a defender by going rook c7 because then I think knight e6 hits the rook. So here rook c8, knight d4, king f7. But then the knight is unpinned. The knight is unpinned, so the knight can move. So here, king f7 right away.
Think about principles when you also calculate. So d5, king f7, what would be a good idea?
Well, then you could just take, right?
I mean,
So d5,
make position more open. I think it helps
yeah.
when you're attacking.
And if he takes with the pawn, you've created a weakness. If he takes with the knight, which probably makes the most sense, then I guess you can maybe attack the queen and make it a little more difficult for black, like gain that tempo.
Okay, so what do you think of that variation?
I think this is better than rook c3.
Is it a d5 the final decision?
Yeah, d5 is my final position.
Very good. Yes, this is a very good move. You see, let two words. Nine. I already told you that such a move. Of course, it doesn't work here, but in your variation that you mentioned, by the way, I think you mentioned queen g5. Yes, after g6. There was the move that queen takes e5 was possible, attacking the rook, and so on. But I don't believe that queen h5 and even I don't think this is a good variation, right? But just wanted to show you that you had got an opportunity to capture at e5, right? But I think that
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong,
So,
black cannot go knight g6, probably knight g6 or even g6 here, and black can play just rook f8, and I think it's a piece. When you sacrifice a piece, it's you have to be 100% sure that there is something. Yes, this
Yeah.
is one thing.
Hmm.
Second thing, at the beginning you mentioned d5 and knight e5. So of course those are like a two good candidate moves. You're attacking, both are attacking in the middle, but both moves are sacrificing material. And you know, it's a good idea. What I personally like, I also like to play, like to analyze the move that is like a, let's say, quite neutral, right? Because if it appears that this is a bad move, if it appears that d5 is a bad move, then I will have to choose between two bad ideas. While maybe there is like a neutral move, like you mentioned later, rook c3, and this is kind of like a, you know, move that slowly improves the position. Yes, but of course I absolutely agree that here is too slow. But you see my point, right? That sometimes, you know, you because some players, they have got a problem that, you know, they calculate one sacrifice, another sacrifice, and you know, it's a they don't like any of them, and they have to make the decision. Two bad solutions, you have to make the decision. But maybe there is like a move, another move. You see my point here, yes?
Yes.
So this is why it was very good that you considered rook c3. And I think it was also, I think it was Kotov, right? I'm not sure, you know this book, Kotov's book, or Think
No.
Like a Grandmaster? Yeah, or not?
No, I don't. I
No,
don't
okay.
know
So
that.
that there is such a, you know, old book, pretty famous, and he's recommending. And this is, I'm not saying that this is. I don't agree 100% with that. Although he's recommending to calculate variation only once, right? So you don't. You have. He's, you know, saying that you have to trust yourself, and of course, if you have got a complicated variation, then, you know, you can, I think, you know, if this is like a big decision, you sacrifice material, can, you know, you have to check that variation. But it's not a good idea to, and I had got that problem in my games when I was younger, that I remember was calculating some lines, you know, couple times, and usually it was, I made a very bad decisions. So, you know, once, maybe twice, and twice if it's very complicated. Yes, but also it saves you a time. Yes, so yeah. But d5 is the move that happened, and now maybe you'll be surprised. Black captured. So now you already, I think, have got one candidate move.
Oh yeah, I don't even know if I would calculate in this position. I would just play knight d4.
Okay, so this is also, you know, bad habit, right? I
Yeah.
understand. Of course, I understand, right? That you have got the idea that you love, but even in such a positions, don't try to make any automatic moves. Try to force yourself to find, an, you know, one candidate move more, calculate it quickly and make the decision. But you see, you just need to. I don't recommend to do any automatic moves.
Okay, sure. Um,
So of course, knight d4 is the first candidate. Yes.
mhm.
Any other move that might be decent or not.
I'm trying very hard to come up with another move.
Oh,
I was thinking, I'll think out loud if that's okay.
mhm.
So I was thinking about the old candidate move, rook c3, but I don't think it's particularly
But
makes some sense in this position.
let's check this if you don't have anything else.
Yeah, I thought that maybe d4 here is annoying, but I guess you can go rook d3. Um, I guess black can also just go king f7 here. Rook e3. Okay, rook h e8. Then knight d4. Then maybe like rook c8. Rook c8, but also in that position, I don't want to go too much deeper, but the knight can just move away.
Mhm.
To
What is your opinion about this position?
I think white has the advantage. in this position, but it's like a slight advantage.
Okay, and now you also have to calculate second move, right? Because of course you mentioned that, but you have to calculate it. So knight d4, what do you expect black will do?
Yeah, knight d4. Okay, let's say like rook c8 here. No, rook c8 doesn't work because of the deflection tactic. So then probably king f7. Then I really like knight d6 in this position. Let's say rook c8. Then what? Yeah, I guess maybe you have this check here.
But you see, no need to calculate. I would say that deep out
It looks,
there, right?
it looks very good.
Mhm.
This looks very, very good.
What's the decision?
Yeah, knight d4.
Yes, of course. Knight d4 is the move that happened in the game. But one small correction. Rook c3 d4. You see that queen is protecting also knight. So you calculated. I think you mentioned rook d3, while also knight take d4, right? Also would be good because queen cannot capture the knight because there is a checkmate at e7. Yes,
Yeah,
as
right.
you can see. So this is one thing. And second thing, this is definitely something that you could do faster, right? That decision, because decision was, I know that I was forcing you find something else, but you should find something else, but you could decide slightly faster, right? Don't forget that it's during the game, it's important, right? If you play classic, as I told you, classical game, in the rapid games, it's even more important, and it's a good habit to consider two moves, right? Even in faster games. King f7. So one candidate move you have got. I think you mentioned was what 96.
Yes.
What is another one?
96. I guess you would have to look at queen h5. Queen h5 is a little interesting to me. So, like for example, g6, then maybe the queen infiltrates with h6, and then after knight comes into e6, black looks like he has some problems. Maybe you can defend, although it looks tough. Looks tough to defend. Then, okay, so there is some defensive moves, and we're like kind of going away from the center. So okay, but anyway, the other idea is 96 right away, with the idea of playing rook c7. So 97. Okay, maybe black plays rook c8 to try to trade some pieces. So there, I think I want to check queen h5 there. The king can move here or play g6. Although I think if queen h5, g6, I think black has a lot of problems after queen h5. Like these squares are very weak.
What do you like more?
I like knight 96 first more.
Is it the decision 96?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you're right. It's 96. One word here about he of course played 96, but one word when I'm calculating in my games, I usually start with the move that is, because your first idea was knight e6. I think this is the move that you mentioned much earlier. I usually prefer to start with the move that is most likely I'm going to play, because we can consider a couple candidate moves, but quite often what move do you like the most at the first glance. And because if you start with calculating this move it's like some kind of like a benchmark to you, right? That later you can compare other moves to that move, right? But this is the and you here, and also before you started with, those are like details, but I think that this is something that makes also calculation easier, that you start with the move that you like the most, and later you are comparing other moves to this one. Yes, you see my point. But okay, here, and you are partly right, because black played rook c8, just rook from h to c8. And yeah, that game is like, I mean, coming to an end. Okay, it didn't
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's coming to an end, because you can see that knight at e6, it was a great idea to bring that piece. But now, of course, I think it was Tartakova, right, who said that, the hardest thing to do in chess is to win a position that is already won, right? Or so yeah. So what ideas have you got now?
So yeah, I still have the queen h5 idea.
One.
Now this pawn is very weak. But also I wonder if it makes sense to exchange rooks first.
Okay,
I think
second
maybe
move,
not
rook
in
takes
this.
c8.
Yeah, rook takes c8. What else? I guess you have this check and this check, but I don't think this does anything.
So you see, let's start with those two moves, and remember, maybe if there is another idea, you can consider it later.
Okay, so the move I'd most likely play off of intuition would be rook takes c8, then rook takes c8, queen h5. I think if g6, black just loses. And then, so after queen h5, this is the only move, is g8. Then
Don't forget that, that d5, you sacrifice the pawn, so it would be nice to have something clear.
Yeah, I'm thinking about in that position, maybe just like coming back with the queen to attack the g7 pawn.
And how do you like it?
It's okay. I don't see a clear path forward.
It's okay, but you mean like a equal, small advantage, big advantage?
Yeah, it might be equal, or maybe like slight disadvantage. I don't know, you lost the pawn. Maybe the knight can come to g6. If we go here right away, knight g6, though, you lose the pawn, and then this pawn is on pre. If I come here, check, this is very forced. Yeah, maybe I like queen h5 better here.
Okay, is it the final decision?
Yeah.
Queen h5, yes. Okay, first move that that is not correct. Okay, I have got, you see, you need to know one thing, because first move you calculated rook takes c8, yes. In general, there is also such a principle that says that when you're attacking, it's better not to exchange pieces, yes. This is one thing. But this is not the most important. I mean, I agree with, because you mentioned, if I'm not wrong, you mentioned variation takes, queen h5, king g8, and you said equal or slightly worse even, right? After this position. But if you are calculating position after queen h5, I think you should also consider king g8. Not g6, not this, but king g8. Yes, because you can take ideas, ideas or positions are quite similar, so you can take ideas. And I think that, you can take ideas from one variation and then try to put it into another one. And I think after king g8, position looks quite decent for black. I mean, black survived. Of course, I'm not saying that black has got the advantage, because there is some kind of attack, but you can see that, black's position, I think, is quite solid. Yes, I agree with that.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So you see, white decided in this position to create another powerful threat. Because, of course, good that you considered captures, you considered checks, queen g4. Okay, so try to decode this move, what that move is about. There are like two ideas connected to this move.
Okay. So, okay, I saw a part of this idea when I was doing my calculations, but it makes a lot more sense, because when I was looking
this is pretty common idea, such a queen g4.
Yeah.
It's a pretty common idea when you're attacking. But what in this specific position, what are the two ideas behind this move?
Yeah. So you're threatening these two ideas.
One thing, of course, is attacking here. Another one is some kind of, you see, unprotected tactical motive, unprotected queen. So there are like some possible knight g5s and things like that. Yes. So this is the idea. So I think that move, it creates more problems to black. Yes. In this position.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Black, of course, this is like a bigger threat, at least at the moment. So black decided to go g6. What would you do?
I don't know why knight g5 doesn't win on the spot.
I mean, okay, first idea, first candidate move. Anything else? Or if you think that move is, you can take a look, you can check, is that winning immediately? Because if that's winning immediately, that's fine. So knight g5.
Oh, wait. So knight g5, there's
yeah. This is why you see it doesn't win on the spot, right? So
okay.
Yep. Okay, so knight g5, one idea. Okay, one candidate, but definitely something you have to calculate. So knight g5, what else?
I guess queen h5, h3, to attack this pawn.
Okay. So two ideas. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So let's do knight g5, king e7,
king e8.
King e8. I'm looking at. Okay, so I mean the queen and the knights are both hanging. So here, I mean you can win some material. So like here, exchange queens, and then you win this pawn. Okay, so you're up a pawn in that position. Then queen h4 keeps the queens up.
What's the evaluation of this position?
It's slightly better for white.
Okay.
Then, like, let's say queen h3. If rook takes, well, that's the difference between these two is a little interesting, but because like let's say queen h3, rook takes, then queen takes e6. But then you do have queen takes h7, but it looks like maybe the king not the square escapes. Okay, so I guess you have to play queen h3 to protect this, because after here, then this pawn is still protected. But then can you go just like king g8 to protect this? But no, but then you have queen rook c7 there, which looks no, but then you can just slide out of the way. Yeah, maybe.
Can black just take it, by the way?
I think I'll go with knight g5. It looks like you win some material. This other position looks a little unclear.
Okay, so is it final decision, knight g5?
Yes.
This is the move that happened in the game. Okay, but one word. Let me not comment knight g5 because I don't want to give you any hints what happened, later. Let me comment queen's moves, right? Of course, those moves absolutely, they're creating some threats. But I think when you were calculating moves, like it was rook takes c1, yes, you calculated here and here and then here. But you see, you can also consider that after this move takes, now you can take at h7 in between. Yes, this is
right.
like an in-between move. So I think that rook c1 looks risky because, there might be something, that rook is protecting e6. But on the other hand, after this move, if I'm not wrong, black can also capture like this, because you cannot use your rook from e, because you will get a back rank on the you will get a back rank after rook takes c1. Yes, by the way. But yes, you see my point right here. So in between moves, have to pay more attention to in between moves, especially in such a complicated position. But in the game, knight g5 happened. King goes to e8, of course. So now again, candidate moves.
Okay, candidate moves. So queen takes d7, rook takes e7, rook takes e8.
Okay, 3 moves.
So let's start with this. Queen takes d7, king takes d7, rook takes c8, rook takes c8, and then knight takes h8, and then I guess the material is equal in this position after f5. I guess you have a check in that position, but yeah, maybe the king just gets more active. Okay. So maybe it's like equal slight edge for black after the queen's trade. Okay, so then you have rook takes e7. You have queen or king takes e7. So if queen takes e7, maybe you lose material after rook takes c8, rook takes c8, queen takes c8. Yeah, if like queen blocks, then you're a piece. Okay, so rook takes e7, king takes e7. What about rook ce1? Rook ec1. I guess like this is blocked. So if the black king comes here, then you win the queen. So the king has to come here. And that looks quite good.
For whom?
For white.
So what will you play after king d8? Rook takes e7, king takes e7, rook e1, king d8.
Will I play in this position?
Always end, calculation at your own move.
I mean, you have knight e6,
Mm-hmm.
which I think wins on the spot,
Mm-hmm.
because the king is forced to come here, and then you have the discovery attacking the queen, or the queen takes.
How do you like this move?
Yeah, that's winning. I think that's more winning than exchanging queens. So yeah, this is what I would play. I think rook takes e7.
Very good. You see, rook e7 move that you considered like 5 or 6 moves ago, right? It wasn't like a great move. Now appears to be a winning idea. One word. You also mentioned as a candidate move this one. So you should, of course, it's not great, right? But you should at least mention it, right? But of course, it's rook takes e7, and I agree. This is not good. This is not good. So black is like desperation played there. So what would you play? Don't everything's hanging. You see, this is hanging, this is hanging, this is hanging. So just don't make a mistake here. Okay, it's a very complicated position, right? So calculation is especially important. Candidate moves.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so we have
Okay, one.
knight h7 check. Just gonna note all the checks. Rook h7 check. This doesn't work. Then we have exchanging rooks. What else?
Okay, you see, just calculate those moves, and later you make the decision, right? If
Okay.
you wanna, if there is something new appears, you will just add it to the list of candidates.
Okay, so we'll start with
what looks most promising, right? So at the first glance, right? Of course, you have to calculate all of them, but
probably rook c8.
mm-hmm.
Rook c8 makes the most sense. Just exchanging pieces now that we're up. So rook c8, rook c8. Knight h7 check. We still have the back rank issue. The king. I guess the king can take the rook there, and it's not as good. Because before we could move the rook here, and it was very good.
Now the rook is gone. That is true.
But now the rook is gone. So maybe that doesn't make sense. We have this check too, but then king takes. That doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I think you mentioned 2 checks more, right? Or
did I say knight h7?
Yeah, that was the first, I think, move that you mentioned. Like you should at least check them, right? If you mentioned.
Oh yeah, rook f7 check. If queen f7, then we have this, and then maybe even this at the end. If here or here, okay, so if here, this is, I think this is bad. I think that it in fact loses. Yeah. And then so here. Okay, then we take. Then I don't know.
Can you evaluate this position, or
it's unclear?
So favorite evaluation, right?
Yeah.
Favorite flotation of most commentators, unclear.
Something else that I thought about was just rook e1, but I mean, I don't know, after Queen takes queen, check here. I guess you can. Oh, can you just go rook e1? Oh, can you just play rook e1 and then you're just solid because like if queen takes, then you have this tactic. Oh,
Is it the decision, final decision?
yeah. I would play rook e1.
Okay, like actually rook e1 is not good.
It's not good.
Yes,
Oh
I mean,
no.
I really like your tactics that after this move here, and now this move, right? And this is really nice. But there is one problem. You see that position is of course game is coming to an end, but the problem is that after this move, queen can take it.
Oh.
And now I think you cannot really take it back. I mean, it's not that great because rook c1 is coming back rank. This is the bigger problem, yes. But why played the move that you mentioned, but it was very unclear for you, which was rook f7.
Okay.
Actually, rook f7. Of course, king cannot go to e8. You are right about this, but king goes to g8. And now, okay, so you have to make it, you have to solve it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear that this is win if Steinitz played this, but yeah, but what would you do? Okay, so candidate moves.
Yeah. Rook takes c8 is probably
Okay, one.
First candidate move.
Any other checks, captures, threats.
Oh, this is a this is a challenging position.
No, it's super complicated. Every piece that you have got is hanging. So
okay.
So rook takes c1 is one candidate move. In such a positions you have to be like engine. Checks, captures, threat.
Yeah, so I guess I was thinking of rook c7 maybe, but I don't know if that works after rook takes c7.
Okay, so rook c7, rook c8, any other candidate? Checks, captures, threats.
Okay, so you have this.
Okay,
this check. If queen takes, again we have this. So the queen can't take. If the king takes, if the king takes, now we take the queen with check, which looks good. And if here, then we take with check. The king comes back.
You like it or not, or what's your opinion of that move?
Sorry, my dog. I like it. Rook g7 makes a lot of sense to me.
Would you play it?
I think so.
Yes, this is the move that Steinitz played. Yes, you see, so it was, you see here, now this move, right? Still the idea that queen cannot capture because c8, king cannot capture because of the check. And you need to know that black played king h8. You just need to know that after this move, you can take like this with a check. And now, of course, in case king captures the rook, then you capture queen with a check. In case king goes to e8, there is knight takes f6 for king and the queen. Yes, so yeah. So black decided to play here.
Okay.
And now what would you do? Or candidate moves, short calculation.
Oh, does this not work? This doesn't work. anymore, because if queen takes, knight takes, you have back rank.
So you don't like rook h7.
No.
So what other candidate moves have you got?
Well, you can't take because of the back rank. You could do this.
I will just tell you that after the next move, black resigned.
Okay.
I'm not sure, is it a big hint, but what do you like the most, right? Because at the moment.
No, maybe it is. No, this does work, because not that queen can take, but we have this idea still. And then, so, okay, so here, then you can only move there.
Okay, you see anything for anything good for white after?
I wonder if you just go back, like here, and then you come back. And then if king h8, now you have the queen move.
Okay, you like it or not?
Yeah, this is, I think I would play the rook h7.
Yes, rook takes h7, and here black resigned. Yes, and the reason was, yes, here black resigned. The reason was that, of course, after queen takes h7, rook takes c8. Yes. After king goes to g8, you can go back. Yes, and this is, after this move, you have got knight h7. We discussed that position, right? Like this. And after this move, you have got here queen h4, as you mentioned. And now, if I'm not wrong, there is a forced checkmate, because when there is a queen and the knight around the king, usually something is going on, right? I think here, and I think this is a checkmate, if I'm not wrong, right? So forced checkmate, white couple checks, and this is a checkmate. Yes. So you see, just let me just tell you something in the end, because like in the end of the game, right? You have to be extremely careful. Even because I have got an impression that after rook takes e7, you thought that, okay, opponent will resign or something like this, right? And because many mistakes happens when you think that okay, it's over, right? And also until there is a checkmate on the board, you have to keep focus, keep concentration, because this is like a common problem, right? It's like every player has got a problem with that. But until there is a checkmate, you really should try to focus, especially in such a position when you have got 4 pieces and 4 pieces are hanging. Yes. So this is very important, right? So you have to remember this. And you see, of course, please try to remember all of those things that we discussed here. But also the very important thing, that be more, I think, disciplined, like with this. So pick some candidate moves, calculate them quickly, use those, annotations, right? And I do not recommend to use that unclear. Just recommend to say, white slightly better, or just try to decide. But I know that unclear is, favorite of favorite annotation of every commentator, right?
Mhm.
But it's not very useful, right? When you want to judge the move. And this is very, very important, right? So yeah, how do you like the game?
Well, it's a great game.
Yeah, it was
It was very interesting, especially with like the isolated pawn.
Mhm.
Can I ask you one question
Sure.
about the critical moment rook takes e7?
Okay, yes. Let's go back.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Let's go back. Rook takes e7, you mean, or
Mhm.
here?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we sacrificed the exchange, um, and then I guess uh, I think I saw some ideas, and so like I evaluated. Okay, I see some attack. There's some dangerous ideas with this move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is this as far as you would calculate? You would see like, oh, okay, we're gonna do a couple more moves.
Mm-hmm.
I see that there's these ideas, and it looks dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Or does it make sense to go deeper?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, I think I understand the question, right? Because I mean, you're afraid that, I mean, and you, if I understand correctly, afraid that after rook e7 is like a big commitment, so you cannot
Mhm,
go back. Yes, and you have to, you really have to, so you win, but if you don't find a win, you lose. Yes, because so should you calculate it deeply, or just rook takes e7 and so on?
mhm,
Yes, do I understand correctly?
mhm,
Okay. You know, if you so one thing, if you see such a thing like rook takes e7, it's it's, I think that every player who sees that move would go for this, right? It's a
mhm,
yeah, this is first thing, right? But second thing, okay, I'm joking a little bit, right? But you see my point, that move is beautiful, but you need to know one thing. I usually try to find at least one safe variation, like that, even, you see, I don't have to, sometimes you have to use your intuition a little bit, right? Because to be honest, it's not so easy to calculate, rook f7, king g8, rook g7, king h8, rook takes h7. Maybe for Steinitz it was possible, and in the perfect world, this is what should you do, right? But time is limited, right? And it's also not so easy to calculate. So in such
mhm,
a case, I'm trying to, if I see that I go into very complicated variation, I'm trying to have, let's say, a safe line. The line that that in case there is nothing, I can just I can just play that line, and I will just get a decent position. Here, the decent, that the safe variation for me would be knight takes h7, because taking at h7, king takes here, and let's say rook e1. Yes, king has to go somewhere, right? King, of course, I don't want to exchange queens, but I will, for example, take at g6. And of course, this is not a winning variation, but I think that, if I judge this position, uh, you can see that maybe black is still up 1 point, but probably not for a very long time. White has got couple pass pawns. Black's king is also very, very, very exposed. So in my opinion, white is slightly better in this position, even if that white is down in exchange. And this is like a variation that is, pretty simple to, you just take at h7, and so on. So I would try to find something that is winning, but I would go for that variation only if I have got such a safe line that if there is nothing more, I just I always can capture at h7 and get slightly better position. Uh,
okay.
yes, do I answer your question?
Yes, I think I realized something else too.
Mm-hmm.
That while you were talking, you you also, because I think that when I was calculating, I was just looking at the attack, the activity.
Mm-hmm.
But when you were calculating, you also looked at the end game,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like, "Oh, we got two passed pawns. The king is unsafe."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that
Because
was
yeah, but the reason the reason why is because in that variation I knew that I'm not mating the opponent. This is just the line, because when you evaluate the position, you should consider at least 4 elements, right? Material, pawns, kings, and pieces activity, right? So if I'm judging the position, even if I calculate I'm judging the position, I briefly focus on those 4 elements, right? So and this is why I mentioned pawns, right? Because that can be also useful in the end game later, right? So if you have got 2 or 3 pass pawns, connected pass pawns, this is like something really, really, really powerful. Yes. So yeah, that's the point. Any other questions regarding this game?
No.
Okay. So glad you enjoyed this game. Yeah, it's it was I think one of the best Steinitz games, right? So attack was pretty nice, and it's you did find a lot of moves, but good that you didn't find all of them, because all the people would think that I showed you this game before, so which of course I didn't, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, but okay. Glad you enjoyed the game, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy our training. Thank you, Max, for joining us today. I just also want to ask you that if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe the channel, please click thumb up or leave the comment. And also, I just want to remind you that you can get a free workbook if you want to blunder less, and you can find the link to it below the video. Thank you very much, and hope to see you next time. Bye.